Okay, hello. My name is William, and I am doing a sprint review video clip for an assignment that I have at Full Sail University. Part of my two milestone assignments was to create some levels with my team. I created two levels, a swamp and a energy processing center. I'm going to jump over to the Jira site to show issues that I created and my subtasks, and then jump to the actual in-game build of the levels and show what I actually created. Some of the stuff was updated from the last week when I had bugs, and I actually had some user notes from people who played the game and realized that I had some issues with my levels. So, first, over to the swamp level. My primary issue was to create a swamp area. I did not add a mechanic in here for acid, which I should have. And actually, I will probably add a mechanic in, well, a subtask for that because creating the acid was a bit of an issue. And actually, I do need to go back in and update the acid again because in the previous builds it didn't show, but it did show in the build that I'm gonna open, which is a executionable file. I created gate mechanic. I did not create a sniper rifle. I did use an elevator mechanic. I was working on a sniper enemy type, but we're having issues working on enemies that can actually shoot the player. So right now we just have melee enemies that punch when you get close to them. The swamp is created, and I did update the generator issue that I had before. So if we go over to the actual game from the zip drive, first we'll take a look at the swamp level, which is updated from last time, and I'm not going to spend too much time because I'm supposed to go over milestone 2 items, which is the second level that I created. I just wanted to show that the mechanics that was previously messed up in my level are functioning now. We go to the swamp. Character moves. The character does have new abilities like crouch, a jump, and a wall jump now. But previously, the player who gave me feedback said that the generator was that way. The player tried to touch different things in the area where the generator is and had no idea if the generator was working or not. I did condense this level size, so now you can see that it says it needs power there, and that's the gate control. You walk towards the generator. The light goes from white to green, which lets you know that the generator is on and working. I may increase the sound of the generator also because you can barely hear the generator sound effect. So this gate opens, and this was part of my gate mechanic. You go inside this room. I may add some light here so you can actually see that this says gate switch, or may add something. And then you can see the gate opens there. So that is my gate mechanic that works properly. There's a sound trigger that should pop up right about now. There's a sign now that says beware of acid. There's my sound. So the acid effect wasn't in the previous build, but the damage was. What needs to be updated in this is I need to actually add more squares so the player cannot just touch the acid and walk through. Right now, you can just touch the acid and walk through without any worry of multiple acid damage. If you stop collision with it by jumping and touch it again, you can get hurt. Also, I'm going to increase the amount of damage that the acid causes on the player. But I know how to fix this now because I did it on my energy build level, energy processing level. Next thing I want to showcase on this level is it does have enemies now. Again, there's a generator. Go to the generator. There's an elevator here. And the elevator actually works and it goes upstairs the way it's supposed to go. So I'm happy about that now. Yes, it's a slow elevator, but it still works and it goes up to the second floor. And this is where I actually have enemies dropped in, kind of scraps as breadcrumbs to let the player know where to go, because that was the issue before. You see the enemies already walking towards me ready to fight. E to pick up scrap, shoot the enemies. These guys are kind of weak, and I actually configured them to be weaker but faster enemies. You can go upstairs. There's some more enemies up here. Again, kind of weak but faster enemies. You can just shoot them or avoid them if you want to, but they will chase you eventually and try to fight you. Press R to reload isn't on the queue for the game, but this is another lift elevator type thing that I worked on that works. So there is a gate over there, and again, I'm not going to go through the whole process of the level, but there's a generator here. There's a blocked elevator over there. You go close to this generator, turn on the generator, opens up this elevator. You go upstairs to the second floor. There's a security switch, which will open this gate, which will lead to the boss. Overall, there's some small tweaks that I need to make to this level to get it working more functional that I just noticed just playing through. But the main mechanics that was updated is the elevators are updated, the generators are updated, and the acid actually shows on the actual execution will build. I'm going to briefly exit out of this one. Yes. I'm going to jump back to Jura and discuss the Milestone 2 stage. Milestone 2 was create an energy processing center. And in this stage, I had to create a gate mechanic, fire hazards, ice hazards, electrical hazards, a heavy enemy type, and environmental enemy types. Originally, the plan was to kind of swamp the area with a bunch of enemies, but I decided against that, and I wanted to showcase kind of being able to cause the player environmental damage and have them navigate through levels using caution and some strategy. Again, this is the Milestone 2 assignment, and I'm going to just briefly showcase that all the things that I set up for myself in Jira does work and function. Go to load select. That would be Energy Processing Center, my second stage. So here you see what your goal is. Collect the spears. There's a sound trigger right here. A sign that warns you. I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit. A sign that warns you about live wires, danger. If you get close to the live wires, you actually take shock damage. So there's a blue gate there. There's a blue gate here that corresponds. There's healing stations, which is not part of my mechanic, but I did create healing stations, and I'm going to update that also as part of the Jira stuff that actually took some time to do. If you walk towards the healing station, you get your health back. This area here, Sub-Zero warning. Open this door, and this is to simulate like a ice room or something like that. If you touch the ground, you actually take frost damage, which is very painful. So the idea is for the player to actually leap on these floating platforms and stay out of the frost, because if you don't, you actually take a lot of damage from that now. So you actually make it to that. Hopefully I don't die trying to show off my stage. If I do, I'll just have to restart. Take the safer route around. Jump to these platforms here. Gotta be careful, especially since I used the hill from the other section. But this one isn't too terribly bad. I might be able to dash jump it. Okay. Again, don't touch the wires because they hurt you. I may drop a healing station inside here just to help the players out. But you may notice now that the blue gate is gone and now there's a red gate. So you walk here, flames burn. There's another healing station. It heals you for 50. Need that now. Walk inside here, flames burn, And there's fire. If you walk too close to the fire, you get burnt. The fire is relatively easy to avoid. You can kind of walk down this middle pathway here. So I may add more fire to this section here before the final build is due. Touch that orb there, it disappears. You can run through. Again, try to avoid fire best as possible. If you run through, avoid the wires again. You'll notice that the gates are open now. So you can go to the left and get some health. Once you walk in here, so far there's a blocker that pops up behind you. It lets you know that you can't go that way, and now you're in lockdown mode. So these are the hints. Red, fire damage. Yellow, shock damage. Gray have low health. The tanks have high health. Green actually renews your health. And the blue is ice damage. And the goal overall is to reach the black orb. Again, there's some health stations here that you can use to heal. Once you go past here, this is where the enemies are, which can be a bit chaotic because there's different enemies there. The blue enemies cause ice damage, red enemies cause fire damage, yellow enemies cause shock damage, and green enemies actually heal you. And then there's tanks blocking the black orb at the end. So it's easier to actually show you if I escape out and show you kind of what goes on because there isn't a checkpoint. I may have to put a checkpoint system in that level also. So when someone actually does get the orbs to open the doors, that they actually can go back to a checkpoint. So I'll have to look up at how I can do checkpoints instead of having the checkpoint be just respawning you here at the beginning of the game. So I'm gonna try my best to jump over to Pro Force and actually just go into the room that has the abundance of enemies and just show kind of the enemies that's in there since I don't have a checkpoint system set up. So I'm making notes for myself and stuff that I need to take care of before the next build because I believe we're at a freeze right now where we're not allowed to mess with the build because people are actually going to try to play the build that we have right now running. So yeah, as I mentioned before, so you would collect the spears, and that's out of bounds stuff. No one should really care about that. But inside this room here that I died in very quickly, you do need some strategy to survive this room. It is possible to survive this room, but you need some strategy. These are triggers for the skylight, which actually opens these two panels here. They will slide to the left and the right. And as I mentioned before, the red guys cause fire damage. So these guys are fire damage, shock damage, fire damage, ice damage, and then there's a couple of guys that heal you. So for these, they're kind of dive bomb, suicide bomber type enemies that run towards you as soon as they see you, and that's why they're all facing this way. And these are the small, low energy guys, which you can kill kind of easy. And additionally, these suicide bomber guys, they have low health also, so you can shoot them one time or two times and kill them also. And these are all the tanks that are stationary, but they block you from getting the black orb. Once you get the black orb, you actually teleport to a third stage that I created, which was a hub, which acts as a teleporter to other locations. But overall, I'm happy with the level that I created. I was able to take care of my subtasks and stuff that I had in Jira. I do see some stuff that I need to add to here to this tasker. I do need to update some of the mechanics on the swamp and some of the interactions to make the game a little bit more playable. Boost the volume for the generator so you can hear that. Lower the overall volume in the energy processing center. But overall, I'm happy with this week's submission, fixing bugs from last week and submitting something this week. Thank you for looking at my video and have a great day.